I decided to do my communication project on a PECS book here. When I first started in ABA, my first kiddo who was nonverbal was starting the first phase of PECS, so I came in and started with him immediately, and I thought it was a perfect way to learn more about how to teach a nonverbal kid a way of communicating, and I think it was perfect for that ideal kid to learn these different phases, and then that I was in part to teach those. So first step is I have the PECS book, which to get all of these different icons, you do a preference assessment. So you will lay out a field of these certain items, and whatever one he gravitated for we made a PEC icon for. So a lot of the same foods that he was brought in with, and a lot of certain toys that we did preference assessments on to make icons. We made a lot of icons for this kiddo, and as you can see, we had to go through different parts of the building that he was allowed to go into, certain needs and wants that he could have and request for. And the end goal would be that he could cycle through each page and find the PECS book, the PECS icon that he is looking for in order to actively communicate his needs and wants. And a lot of times it was easy to teach a child that if he was asking for a certain item that they were not available, either because we didn't have them at the time or they were no longer available to him, as in like sometimes a certain room wouldn't be available because of another kiddo using it, and we'd have to explain that to the child that certain things were not available as well. So that was the goal of the PECS book, is to ideal communicate to a nonverbal child, but at the same time, if they were to request for, let's say, a cucumber and I didn't have one, they have to also understand that just because you're requesting for one does not mean that you're instantly going to receive it, which I thought was really big on explaining the whole available and not available variations to this child. Here I have PECS training. There are 4 different phases. I will go through each phase and explain them all. So the first phase is initiation of communication. The end goal is to teach the child to physically exchange a picture. So the materials are 2 people and pictures and items, and make sure that the PEC icon always had a label. So just because it's showing someone lifting up, that you want it to say up. And then just because you can tell these are cucumbers, you want to make sure that you have a label of the word cucumber. The goal of the first phase was that you do not force the prompting, that it becomes more natural to them. So if the child is going to hand me the cucumber icon, they would receive the cucumber. That's just phase 1. No prompting, in the room, for so many days. I think the mastery criteria was they can exchange 3 to 5 pictures with 2 instructors across 2 different environments. So this is outside of their work area, in maybe in the kitchen, a big gym, somewhere else, just to get them used to requesting. And another goal is that they are looking at the picture. They're not just handing you an icon and expecting to receive something. They need to look and make sure they're asking for the raisins in order to receive the raisin, type of thing. Phase 2, which is distance and persistence. The goal is to teach the child to travel to his or her book communication partner from room to room. This one is where a lot of kids tend to get stuck, because the first phase to me is simple enough that they hand you an icon and they get something in exchange. This one is that you have to travel, bring the book, always do your preference assessment, so make sure you have the materials that match up with the PECS icon, and make sure that they understand that they have to carry this with them in order to communicate. You might know or want, you might understand what the child wants, but they have to be able to tell you. You're not always going to be there to know what they want, so this is what this comes in. I like that extends to all different environments and it travels with them, and the goal is that they can also carry it with them as well. Phase 3 would be discrimination/man, so it's to teach the child to choose among all pictures. I guess I should have explained in phase 1, there's only 1 or 2 pictures on here, so it's not overwhelming. I would say this would be a phase 3, that there are multiple pictures on here and they can discriminate between what it is that they are looking for and asking for. And another goal would be that if they don't see what they want on here, they will go through and be able to find the icon that they would want. That is why preference assessments are huge with PECS book, because you are constantly making new icons for new foods, new toys, new reinforcers, new areas of the place that they are at too, which I think is perfect. and in between each step, there's like, so like for phase 3, there's 3B, which is also them discriminating between multiple pictures of the same item, so that they're understanding that raisins might not always look like this. They might look like they come in a container, they might be in a little baggie, and there's different options for them to understand that just if they don't see the picture of a raisin that they're used to, that there are other options. And I think that's perfect as well. So they're not relying on only one picture to receive only one thing. In phase 4 would be the sentence structure, which I had a lot more of a difficult time teaching my child because they were so used to saying, like, I want cucumber, I'm asking for cucumber, they get the cucumber. Phase 4 would be introducing the I want. So then this would go on the front of the PECS book. So I want, say the child wants the bathroom, so they have to, there's many steps involved. They have to put I want, well I want was always on here, so this was already done for them. To the bathroom, they would have to take I want off and hand it to me. Now that is a lot of steps involved, and for certain kids that could be seen as more difficult, but that was the end goal, so they had to teach to tell me that they wanted to do something. And I thought that was perfect enough for a child to understand that not just giving me an icon is going to get them something, but at the same time, they have to, it's for communication, so you want them to fully understand how to properly do it and use the PECS book. Thank you.